All right. Hello again. Thank you for being here on this Sunday evening. I appreciate you taking the time out of your Sunday evening. I know you have some preparing to do to get your week started off successfully tomorrow. So thank you for taking this hour or so to spend with me and learn about note investing. My name is Brian, and yeah, I'm here to talk to you about mortgage note investing today. Um, as you saw those intro questions in the title slide, that's kind of what we're going to be touching on today. But we're going to start here because although we are here to talk about investing, what we're really here to talk about is freedom. That's what this is all about. We all deserve more freedom. And so, a few questions you can drop your answers into the chat here. What would you do if you could use your time however you saw fit? Okay, so responsibilities are taken care of, right? You don't have to worry about paying bills or any of that. You could do anything you wanted with your time. What would you do there? I mean, would you travel more? Would you spend time with your family? Would you learn a new language? Go ahead and drop your answers into the chat. I have it pulled up on my phone here so I can see what you say. Please let me know if at any point during this webinar I'm going too fast. I do have a bit of a delay, so yeah, keep me posted. But yeah, let me know, what would you do if you could use your time however you saw fit? Okay. And then from there, what if you knew that you were getting paid every month to live the life that you enjoy? So every month, you knew you had money coming in. You check your direct deposit. You know the money's going to be there. How would you feel? Would that make you feel relaxed? Would that make you feel joyful, excited? What would that feeling? What do you think that feeling would be like? Okay, go ahead and drop these answers into the chat. I'll shout them out as they come in. Okay. And then what if this wasn't just a what if? Okay, what if I told you that not only is this attainable, but it's a lot closer than you think, and relatively easy to get your hands on. Okay, oftentimes people think that when we talk about freedom, we talk about passive income, we talk about having freedom of time. It sounds like a far off dream, and it's really not. It's really a lot closer than we tend to believe. And today we're going to talk about one of the ways to achieve that. Okay. Because at the end of the day, passive income is the key to living that free life that we're talking about in these questions here. Okay, we don't have to clock in for work and exchange our time for money, right? We're able to spend that time how we see fit. We're able to enjoy new experiences. We can spend our time with the people that we love. We can try new things. We can maybe go back and do some things that we wanted to do when we were younger or something and didn't have the opportunity to do, right? So we can take better control of our lives. And so my goal, not only here today, but my goal with the note investing business is to help myself and others create that freedom. I believe we all deserve that. That is the foundation of why I do what I do. And so that's where I like to start. Okay. And again, let me know as people join. Let me know if I'm moving too fast. I'll slow down. Go ahead and drop anything, any questions you have in the comments. We are live, so I'll see everything as it pops up, and I can answer your questions as we go. Okay. But a little bit about me as we get started. My name is Brian Royster. I'm a professional note investor. I'm the founder of Note Genius. And what I do is I buy predictable cash flowing assets. These assets are secured by physical real estate, and they generate the monthly cash flow that we were just talking about in the last few slides. Okay, so my goal here with these assets is to be as hands free as possible while collecting that monthly income and making sure that the money is working harder for me than I'm working for it. But more importantly than that, I'm here to share these opportunities with other people. Okay, I don't want just the money to work for me. I want the money to work for you all. I genuinely feel that there's no point in me earning my freedom and earning this income if I can't create that same opportunity for others. And so that's much more important than me doing this by myself, is to show others how they can do this as well. Okay. So as you all have probably assumed so far, we're here to talk about mortgage note investing, which is a niche of real estate investing. Okay. And it is fairly common knowledge, right, that real estate investing is considered to be the most efficient, I guess, way of building wealth over time, right? It's been that way since we've been here as humans, right? If you own the land, if you own the property, there's a good chance that at some point you're going to have a significant amount of wealth, whether for yourself or to pass down to future generations. But real estate has always been the name of the game. Uh, but the issue with real estate investing is that it comes with some headaches and hassles that beginners are not aware of, right? And experienced investors, they just get tired of after a while, right? Whether you're a landlord and you're owning properties and you got to keep up with tenants and vacancies and such, you have to make repairs that eat into your profits. There's a lot of headache involved there. And that income is not as passive as people who invest in real estate say it is, right? Maybe you're a wholesaler or a flipper, and those deals take a lot of work. You got to beat out the competition. You got to find the right properties. You got to negotiate a low enough price to create a spread for yourself. And then at the end of all that, every deal only pays you one time, right? So you got to go and do it all again. So real estate, while it is a great way to make money and to earn that income, it does come with its share of headaches. And so what I would like to propose to you today is a perspective shift, okay? How can we leave being the landlord behind and take the place of the bank, right? And so I would start with this question is how do banks make their money, okay? Banks do not invest in real estate. They don't invest in stocks and mutual funds. Or rather, that's not the bread and butter of their business, okay? I won't say they don't do that at all, but that is not how banks make their money, okay? Banks make their money through lending, okay? Whether that's home loans, car loans, personal loans, banks, they lend people money and establish a certain interest rate, and these people pay their money back over time, right? Now, why is this the bread and butter of the banking business? Well, every loan that a bank provides is a new stream of passive income, okay? So the bank is collecting passive monthly cash flow every month on all these hundreds of loans that they're giving out, right? And they're collecting interest on this money, so it's worth more than it was when they gave it out, right? And I mean that's what investing is all about. It doesn't matter what you're investing in; you want to collect those interest rates, right? Beyond that, banks loan because they have security through collateral. So particularly when we're talking car loans, when we're talking home loans, right? The bank knows that, hey, if the borrower does not pay as we agreed to, they don't make their monthly payments and they fall too far behind, we have a remedy to make sure that our money is not just lost, right? We have the right to claim that collateral, whether it's the car, whether it's the house, whether it's the business, right? They have that security there, okay? So the bank feels comfortable handing out tens of thousands of dollars or more, to allow people to go and make the moves they want to move. And then the third thing is control over ownership. Like I just said, when you are a landlord, when you own a property, you have to deal with things that aren't necessarily fun to deal with, But as the bank, as the holder of the loan, as the holder of the note, you have control over an asset without having to deal with ownership headaches. No one calls the bank at 2 a.m. to say, hey, my neighbors won't shut up, or hey, the roof is leaking, or my toilet's busted. I need somebody to come fix it, right? That's not the bank's problem, right? So again, we're talking about a perspective shift here. How can we invest and make it as easy for ourselves as possible? And so what we talk about here in the note investing space is owning the paper and not the property. That's what it's all about. Own the paper, not the property. Okay? And again, I encourage you to, as we go, drop any questions in the chat. If there's anything that's not clear or if I'm moving too fast, let me know, and I will make sure to address that. But first off, what is mortgage note investing, right? As we've said, banks provide home loans as one of the many types of loans that they give out. A potential homeowner comes into the bank and says, hey, I'd like to buy this property. I'd like to buy this home. I can put X amount down, but I need the money to complete my purchase, right? So the bank says, okay, they go through their qualifications and they create a mortgage note. What this mortgage note does is it details all the specifics of the loan, okay? What is the monthly payment? What is the interest rate? How long is the loan going to be paid? What happens if the loan doesn't get paid? All those details, right? Those are in the note. Now, mortgages are typically 15 to 30-year loans. I have 20 here, but you can get a 15-year mortgage, right? And the property, the home, is used as collateral for this loan. So again, if the loan defaults, the property is at risk of being reclaimed so the bank can get their money back. right? Well, what happens is after a certain period of time, the banks are collecting their money and they want to give out new loans, right? Or maybe they want to make a bigger investment in something, right? But they need the capital to do so. So the bank says, okay, well, we've collected on these loans over here for long enough that we're comfortable with the money that we've made. We're going to go ahead and sell off these loans so we can collect a lump sum now instead of the full value of all the interest payments later, right? So that we can go give out a loan at maybe a higher interest rate, or we can take advantage of investing in this big commercial building that's being built, right? So they prefer to get the lump sum up front. And for that, they're willing to sell the rest of these monthly payments, whether it's years to go or months to go or, whatever the case may be. They sell off the older loans so that they can make newer ones or make newer investments. So where note investors come in is we come in and say, okay, well, if you want to sell those loans, I'll buy it from you at a discount. Say there's a note that has a $100,000 balance on it, right? As a note investor, we'll come in and say, okay, I'll buy that from you for 85K, right? The bank's like, sure, we'll take that 85 up front. We'll go ahead and do what we want to do with it. You can take the rest of these monthly payments. You can deal with the borrower. Hopefully, we're talking about good, responsible borrowers who are paying their monthly payments back consistently, right? But at the end of the day, we're going to buy these notes at a discount, and we become the new lender. We replace the bank. We become the new recipients of these monthly payments, and that leads to the passive income that we're all after, right? So that's kind of how mortgage note investing works. It's relatively simple, but mortgage note investing is considered by those in the know to be the best kept secret in real estate investing. Okay. And why do we say that? It's because note investing is one of the only investment vehicles where you can find all four of these following elements all in the same investment strategy, right? So the first thing is low risk. Okay. Again, every note is tied to a physical property. Every note is tied to a physical asset. Okay. So this collateral here, it secures your investment. Okay. You don't want to put up thousands of dollars on an investment, tens of thousands of dollars on an investment. And if it goes south, right, then you're out of luck, right? With a physical asset being tied to your loan, being tied to your investment, you know that, hey, I have security, I have safety in my investment to know that I can get my money back or I can get my money out should something go wrong, right? The second thing is predictable income, okay? When you invest in market-driven assets, whether it's the stock market or even just traditional real estate investing, um, you're at the mercy of a lot of factors that you have no real control over, right? And if the economy takes a hit, then your money's likely going to take a hit. Okay. When we're talking notes, we're talking about investing in contractual agreements, right? You're going to pay this, your borrower is going to pay this amount at this interest rate for this many months, right? So it doesn't really matter what's going on in the world, right? It's a contract. It's a contract. You're owed what you're owed. You can predict your income as it comes in, right? And so there's less likelihood of your money being affected by things that are out of your control, okay? Which gives you a lot of peace of mind as an investor, okay? The third thing is outsized returns, okay? When we are talking about, again, other common investment vehicles, take the stock market, for example, that's probably the other most common one aside from real estate. Your average stock portfolio is going to return 6 to 10% on average, right? Counting for inflation and all, you're looking at 6 to 10%, which is good. But again, that 6 to 10% comes with risk that is outside of your control, right? When you're investing in notes, again, we're buying at a discount. So we're buying at less than the value that's owed, less than the balance that's owed, which means we're creating larger returns right off the buy, right? That money is coming in consistently, it's predictable, which means that you're receiving larger growth, larger returns on your investment than you would using certain other strategies, right? And so again, we're talking about paper, not properties. It makes it, in investing in paper, I should say, it makes it really easy to stack these up. All right, you stack these up, whether that's you want to do one a month or you want to buy a bunch of them at one time, right? But you're looking at larger returns because you're buying at a discount and you're collecting more consistently, right? And then the final thing, of course, is the passive cash flow. Okay, this is what we're all after, right? When we talk about freedom, when we talk about buying our time back, buying our energy back, passive income, passive cash flow is going to be the foundation of that, right? Um, Now, you can use your income from notes to stash in a savings account if you want to, and just know that you have money going there for when you need it. Maybe you use it to replace your job, replace your active income, right? That's a great way to do it. A lot of people like to use note investments in their retirement account to know that they have steady growth in their retirement account that doesn't carry the same risk that it may in your typical retirement investments, right? And these are things that we'll touch on later, right? But at the end of the day, these things provide passive cash flow, passive income that will allow you to make significant shifts in the way that you live your life. Okay. Um, Hey, Rodney, good to see you. Glad you could drop by. Thank you for the comment. So from here, what I want to do is show a case study, right? I'm going to apply some numbers to this just so that we can kind of put this concept we can drive home the concept, okay? We're going to go ahead and look at a case study to drive this point home. So here we have a property. Here we have a property that is valued at $142,000, right? The mortgage balance, the remaining mortgage balance is $108,000. There's an 8% interest rate, and there's 15 years of term left on this loan. So there's 180 months, 180 payments remaining. Okay, the monthly payment on this mortgage is just over $1,000 a month. Okay, I'm going to speak in round numbers for simplicity's sake. You can see the actual numbers on the screen. But yes, for the sake of flow, I'm going to speak in round numbers. Okay. So the monthly payments are just over $1,000 a month. The bank has collected on this note for a few years, and they're happy with what they've received so far, right? And they decide that they're going to sell this note off for $89,000, right? So you're looking at a $108,000 balance and an $89,000 investment. So being the savvy investor that you are, you say, yeah, I'll take that. That's a good deal. The note checks out, the payments look good, right? We're going to go ahead and invest in this deal. So you're buying at a $19,000 discount already. You've already made money off the rip. Okay. Not only have you made money, but your $89,000 is secured by a $108,000 note, and it's also secured by a $142,000 property. Okay. So you feel comfortable. You feel confident. You bought at a discount. You have your security. You've earned instant equity by buying at such a discount, right? You're looking good. You're in good shape, okay? Now, you're probably sitting here going, okay, that much makes sense, but how do I know I'm going to get my money? Okay, how do I know that I'm going to get these monthly payments that we're talking about? Okay, so that leads me to the next part, which is the 3 possible outcomes of a note investment, okay? Hear me when I say this, all investments carry risk. I'm not here to tell you that note investing is some magical strategy that only goes up and you'll never lose and it'll never go down. That's not honest and that's not realistic. What I am here to tell you is that mortgage note investing makes it difficult to lose because there are only 3 outcomes. And when you only have 3 outcomes, you can predict and plan for exit strategies. You can predict and plan for how an investment might go, okay? And determine your comfort level and invest in making that investment, right? So these 3 outcomes are relatively simple, okay? The first one is that your borrower pays as agreed, okay? Your borrower makes their regular monthly payments every month. They know what they signed up for. They're good with that. They're consistent. You don't have to reach out with any, hey, what's going on? I haven't received a payment, right? They pay as agreed all the way through the end of the note. At the end, you all go your separate ways. You've collected your money off the interest and everybody's happy, right? The second is an early payoff, okay? There's a good chance that your borrower may refinance and find a better interest rate. There's a good chance that your borrower may sell the property, right? And in order to be free and clear of your loan that you own, they have to pay off the rest of that balance, right? So you get paid off early. You get to collect on your money sooner than you thought you would, sooner than expected. It's a nice little surprise. But that's the second outcome. And the third, of course, is the scary one, is that your borrower fails to pay. Your borrower defaults on the loan, and you have to claim that property as collateral to recoup your money, right? To recoup on your investment. So those are the 3 outcomes. What we're going to do here is we're going to apply these 3 outcomes to our case study so we can see how the numbers work and see how it works out. And you'll understand what I mean when I say note investing makes it difficult to lose. Okay? So the first outcome, pay as agreed. Again, your borrower is comfortable with the agreement. They're consistent. They have steady income, no problems, right? And they pay you your $1,032 a month for the remainder of that 180-month term, right? It's pretty straightforward math. You're just going to multiply the two, and at the end of the term, you're looking at just shy of $186,000 over 15 years, right? That works out to an 11.37% return per year. Okay, so we're already starting off hot. We're starting off hot. We're starting out double digits. Okay, we're looking good already. Okay, so yes, that one's pretty straightforward. But outcome number two comes around, and your borrower sells the house after 5 years. So you've collected your monthly payments for 5 years. Everything is good. Everything is smooth, and your borrower decides, I'm ready for a change of scenery. Maybe the kids are out the house, or maybe somebody got a new job somewhere else, whatever the case may be. But after 5 years of payments, your borrower decides to sell the house. How does that affect your investment, right? Well, you've collected your payments for 5 years, right? $1,032 for 60 months. You're looking at just shy of $62,000 collected in passive cash flow, right? So you've collected 62K. But if you ever paid down any kind of loan, you know that part of your payment goes to principal, part of your payment goes to interest, right? So even though we've already collected $62,000 on this note, the actual principal balance of the note has only gone down about $23,000. So you're still owed $85K of this 108, right? So when your borrower sells the house, right? Again, the property was valued at $142,000. So whatever they were able to get for that sale, from that sale, right? You're still owed your 85 before they're free and clear of your loan. So you take your 62 that you've collected, you add it to your 85. Your total collected is just shy of $147,000. Okay, in 5 years. You subtract your investment amount, your 89K, from that 147, and you're looking at a profit in 5 years of about $58,000, which works out to a 13.29% return annually. So when we got our consistent payment as agreed, we're looking at 11%. When we got paid off early, we're looking at 13%. So we're trending in the right direction, right? We're looking good. We're in good shape. But here comes the ugly one, right? Unfortunately, life happens. People go through situations where they can't afford to make their payments anymore, and you have to take action. So in this case, let's say the same 5 year span goes by. You've been collecting your monthly payments for 5 years, no problem. But then your borrowers get divorced and they can no longer afford to make those payments. Well, is your investment dead in the water? Of course not, right? So what happens here is that you're required to claim the property as collateral, right? Now, let me pause here and say that we are not here as note investors to kick people out of their homes and take their homes away. That is not what we're here for. That's not what this is about. And we do have other methods of resolving a defaulted loan before we reach the foreclosure stage, okay? So maybe we can offer cash for keys, right? We can contact the borrower and say, hey, it would cost me X amount to foreclose on you. I'd rather not do that. How about I pay you a certain amount to sign the property over? You can leave with no foreclosure on your record, no eviction on your record, and we can part ways amicably, right? Or maybe the person who was living in the home passed away and their kids don't want to deal with the property. They have no idea what to do with it. We can reach out to them and say, hey, let's do a deed in lieu. You can sign the property over to us free and clear. You won't have to worry about it. You'll be absolved of this loan, no problem. And so what you're doing in that case is you're relieving a burden from someone. Most people think of losing a property or losing a home as a negative thing, but for a lot of people, depending on the situation, this situation can be a burden to them. And so by offering that option, you are kind of relieving them of that burden. That's one of the things that I like most about being a note investor is because we are not large institutions like a bank or a hedge fund, like we can work with people on a more personal level. We can really kind of get a good analysis of what their situation is and how we may be able to work it out. Maybe we can do a loan modification. Say somebody is out of work for a couple months. We can modify their monthly payments for a certain period to say, okay, we'll bring your payments down so that it's something you can afford while, still keeping your loan intact. So we have other options, but at the end of the day, we will have to claim the property as collateral in some fashion, right? And at that point, it's your property, right? So you can sell it, you can rent it out, you can move into it, you can Airbnb it if you really want to, right? But of course, most of the time, we're going to elect to sell because we want to get our money out so that we can go make another investment, right? So let's say that the property sold for $142,000. Now, remember, it's been 5 years. So there's a pretty good chance that it's appreciated well past $142,000, but this is the number that we started with, so this is what we're going to stick with for now, right? So you collected your 142 from the sale. You've already collected your $62,000 a month in monthly cash flow. Okay, we're gonna subtract about 13K for realtor and legal fees because we did have to go through the foreclosure process. We hired a local realtor to help us sell the home, right? So once you subtract those expenses, you're looking at a total collected of about $191,000. Okay. When you subtract your $89,000 investment from that 191, you're looking at a six-figure profit, $102,000, right? You'll see the total profit says 72 months. We're going to assume that the foreclosure and the sale took an extra year, but for a six-figure profit, I'm willing to wait. I'm assuming you're willing to wait. If you're not, let me know in the chat, and maybe we just have a difference of opinion there. But at the end of the day, we are looking at a 15.84% return. Okay. What that means is that when things went as we expected them to go, okay, we got an 11% return. When we got a gift and got paid off early, we're looking at a 13% return. And when we got inconvenienced and had to do a little extra work to get our money out, right, we got a 15, almost 16% return. Okay. So this is what I mean when I say that note investing makes it difficult to lose. Okay. If you have any questions so far, drop them in the chat. Let me know. Happy to answer anything you may have. But this is how the three possible outcomes work. This is why I like note investing. It's relatively simple. Okay. It's easy to plan for. And it just makes things a lot easier than certain other avenues of investment. Okay. So moving along. Earlier, I mentioned that note investing is the best kept secret in real estate investing, but I only told you half the secret there, okay? The other half of the secret is that you can profit from note deals without doing any deals of your own, okay? Some of you might be listening to this presentation saying that sounds cool, but I don't have the time or the energy or the desire to learn a whole new investment strategy, right? It sounds cool, but I don't know if this is something that I want to do for myself. And what I'm telling you is that you don't have to. Okay, you can profit from deals without physically doing the deals yourself. Okay, and how does that work? So as a note investor, I get deals sent to my inbox every day. I get a lot of opportunities sent to me, and there are times when I see a good opportunity, but just deployed my capital to another deal, right? Or maybe there's a good opportunity, but it's more expensive. It costs a little more than what I have available, right? And so instead of letting those opportunities go by and saying, dang, that would have been nice to have, oh well, right? Instead of doing that, I think about my network and I go, I wonder who's interested in making some passive income. I wonder who's interested in making a little money, right? And so I reach out to my network and I say, hey, I have this great deal that I'd like to take advantage of. It's going to require a little more capital than I have available, and I wanted to ask if maybe you'd be interested in partnering with me on this deal, right? Partnering with me to help me take down this opportunity. You wouldn't have to do any work of your own, right? All you would have to do is supply the capital for the deal. I'll do the work, and for helping me out, you get to collect monthly payments every month, okay? And usually the people I'll reach out to go, yeah, that sounds good. I mean, I have X amount on hand. I'd love to help you out. I'd love to take a look at the deal. And we go forward from there, okay? Now, these people are called private lenders, okay? So private lenders are people who have some money to invest. They're interested in some hands-off passive income, right? Maybe they're super busy with their jobs, or maybe they have another investment strategy that they're more dedicated to, and they just have some extra income that they want to put to work, right? Maybe they want to invest for a limited time. I know a guy who just got done selling off some properties, and he's trying to figure out what his next move is, and he wants somewhere to park his money for a little while until he figures that out. Okay, this is a great strategy for someone in that position. Again, they want to profit off the expertise of others. Okay, so they don't want to do the deals themselves. They don't have the desire or the time, but they do want to put their money to work. Okay, and then again, they want to make secure investments with high returns. You can be a private lender on anything. Okay, your brother could call you and say, "Hey, um, I'm building a new pool in my backyard. Right? I need $20,000 to complete it. Will you loan it to me? I'll pay it back." Right? You can say yes, but if he doesn't pay you back, you can't dig the pool up and take it with you. You know, so private lenders looking for security. They're looking for high returns. Okay, which makes note investing a solid opportunity. Okay, so where are these private investors? These are these private lenders finding this money. Some of them have it in savings. Now, if your money is sitting in a savings account that you can just walk into the bank and open up, you're losing money. You're losing money every day. The average savings account is paying less than 1% interest, while inflation hovers around 3%, 2 to 3%, right? So you're losing money there. If your money's in a high interest savings account, a high yield savings account, I should say, you're looking at 3 to 5% interest on average, which is good, but we can do better, right? We can do better than that. A lot of private lenders have money in a retirement account, and maybe it's an old 401k from a job they don't work anymore, or maybe they have a self-directed IRA. Maybe their money is not earning the returns that they'd like, right? In their retirement account, and they want it to perform better. Maybe they took a hit because most retirement funds, especially when they're done through an employer, right, are invested in stocks. And as we know, the stock market can fluctuate. So maybe they took a hit and they want more security because retirement funds are not something we want to play with, right? We want to make sure our retirement funds are going up and not down. Okay. So again, maybe they have some money in stocks and they want more security, or they took a hit. Maybe they have some money in a life insurance policy that they want to borrow against and earn some income that way. And then maybe they're a real estate investor. Like I said in the beginning, maybe they're tired of dealing with the tenants and the trash and the repairs and the vacancies. Maybe they're a wholesaler or a flipper, right? And they're like, man, I put in a lot of work on these deals, and I have to do deal after deal to get paid, right? So what I like to suggest to wholesalers and flippers is, hey, put half of that, half of your profit in your pocket, take the other half, put it in a note deal, and then do that for the next, 5, 10, however many deals you do. And now each of your wholesale deals, each of your flip deals is now paying you, month after month for years to come. And if you decide that you don't want to be a wholesaler or a flipper anymore, or maybe you want to take a break, you don't have to worry about getting paid. Now you have monthly income coming in, right? That you can kind of step back and change course if you want to. So private lenders, they have money in all different places, but at the end of the day, it's about putting it to work and getting the most use out of it, right? So I'm going to give you a private lending example that applies to our case study. Again, just to kind of put this all into perspective. So this here is Eddie, okay? Eddie is an engineer. He works very hard at his job. He makes good money. Eddie wants to get involved in real estate investing, but he is way too busy with work. He just does not have the time to look up deals and analyze them, but he wants to start investing, right? And so Eddie and I, we have a good rapport, and I go to Eddie and I say, hey man, I have this great opportunity that I could use some help taking down. If you're interested, would you be willing to partner with me on this opportunity? Okay. Eddie says, sure. I have some money in my self-directed IRA that I'm looking to put to use. What do you need? I say, well, if you'll loan me $89,000 to take down this loan, to take down this deal, I'll give you 8% interest on your money. Eddie says, that sounds good. I'm earning 5% right now. 8 is better than 5. Let's do it. Okay. Say, awesome. Thank you, Eddie, for loaning me the capital to take down this deal. You'll earn $850 a month into your IRA account. Okay. Now remember, our mortgage note is paying $1,032 a month. Okay. So Eddie is receiving the lion's share of that payment. As the investor, I'm taking the smaller share, about $180. But again, we're talking about stacking papers, right? So that 180 is nothing to turn your nose up at, right? We want to stack as many of these as we can, and those numbers add up relatively quickly. Okay, but for Eddie's sake, he's earning $850 a month into his account. Okay, I ask Eddie, I say, okay, how long would you be willing to make this loan to me? How long would you be willing to be my private lender? Eddie says, well, I'm still pretty young. This money's in my retirement account, so I can't really touch it anyway. Let's just ride it out. Let's just stick it in there for the full term and just let it grow. Okay. So Eddie, that sounds fantastic. Okay. So Eddie gets his $850 a month for the full term of 180 months. And at the end of the term, his retirement account has turned into $153,000 a month from his $89,000 investment. Okay. All the while, Eddie has earned, again, that passive income. He's earned that contractual growth where he knows that I don't have to worry about, the stock market going up and down and affecting my retirement money. I know that I'm owed $850 a month every month for the next 15 years, right? I don't have to worry about market volatility. I don't have to worry about not getting my money, right, because I have a contractual agreement. Okay. Beyond that, Eddie feels good because he's helping to provide a family with housing. Now, how is that happening, right? We're talking about buying loans. We're talking about taking the place of the bank, right? But when a homeowner takes out a mortgage loan, every time they make a payment, they're building equity in that home, okay? Building equity translates to building wealth. That's how they build value in the home, which is how they build wealth for themselves, okay? Again, most people are going to stay in their homes for a number of years. And this is where a lot of core memories are going to happen. There's a lot of family history in these homes, and so Eddie can feel good about providing people with this value, helping to keep people in their homes, right? And then at the end of the day, if for any reason the borrower is not able to come through and make these payments, right, Eddie knows that he has valuable collateral to recoup his money, right? And his $89,000 in his retirement account is not just gone in the wind, right? He knows that we have a remedy to make sure that he gets his investment back, right? So Eddie feels good about this. He's enjoying his returns. Maybe later down the line, he says, "Hey, man, I got some more money saved up in my account. Do you have any more of those note deals?" Right? Typically, a private lender, they get into one deal and they see how easy it is, they see how passive it is, and go, okay, let's do another one of these. This is pretty simple, right? So I say all that to say, at the end of the day, again, my goal here is to collaborate. My goal here is to create freedom not only for myself, but to create freedom for others. Okay. Again, I get deals in my inbox every day. Okay. I'm always looking for good deals, which means I'm always looking for private lenders to partner with. Okay. And so my question to you, obviously, is can I call you when I find a good deal? Okay. The way that works is I say, hey, I found this opportunity. I know we talked about you having X amount in your available capital. Is this something that you would like? You give me the thumbs up or thumbs down, and we can go ahead and move forward on that opportunity from there, okay? But we're always looking to build wealth together. We're always looking to grow together and create that freedom together. And that's what it's all about, because at the end of the day, again, we all deserve more freedom, okay? We all have a limited amount of time here, and we deserve to use it how we see fit, okay? And that requires action. And that requires making moves, okay? We can do this together, okay? We can earn this freedom together. We can put our money to work and create the lives that we've always envisioned. And in my opinion, note investing is the best way to do that. That is the route that I've chosen. That is the route that I like to spread the word about to other people, because I truly believe it is that powerful. And so I hope that as you've watched this presentation, you'll consider joining me on this journey. But either way, I just want to say thank you for taking the time. Again, I know it's a Sunday evening. I know you have things to do. And so thank you for taking this time to listen to me and to watch this presentation. I do have some free ebooks in the description of this video. If you want to go ahead and click that link, there are 3 ebooks that kind of expand on what we've talked about today. If you have any questions or you want to schedule a call with me, you can visit my website, note-genius.com. You can schedule a call that way, or you can just shoot me an email, brian@note-genius.com. Any questions, anything you want to know, if you want to talk some more, let's do that. Please follow me on social media. Okay. I do post tips. I post interview clips. I post vlogs. Again, I want to keep this really genuine and really authentic. So I intend to walk you through my note journey as it goes. When I win on notes, I want to let you know, and I want to walk through those notes. When I lose, I want to walk through those notes and explain how that works. But I'll be consistently dropping content, so go ahead and follow me on social media, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and that would be greatly appreciated. But at the end of the day, again, thank you for your time. I hope that you have a fantastic week coming up. Any questions, anything you want to know, go ahead and shoot me an email, reach out. I'm available and I'm here to talk and I'm looking forward to it. So thank you. Have a great evening. Have a great week. And